Hi, you guys. Happy Friday.
Morning.
And good morning. We're going to do a mat workout this morning, as we do every Friday morning. And I want you to make sure you have all your goodies nearby, a little small set of equipment, something for the inner thighs, weights for your hands if you like, and you can use soup cans or mayonnaise jars or whatever. A block works well for inner thighs, and you might want a blanket to sit on or to rest your head back on. And we are going to lie back this morning and start our breathing in that reclined position. So you're lying on your back, have your knees bent, and have your feet a comfortable distance away from the bottom of your seat. You can do little motions with the legs to allow the hips to sort of settle in, but then settle also into that parallel position of the legs. And at this point, put a ball or your little wrapped up towel or a block between the knees. Once you've got that thing in between the knees, whatever you're using, have a sigh and feel like the muscles across the width of the hips, both side to side and underneath the sitting bones, get a little softer, a little heavier. Inhale down into that area. Pause to lightly kegel. And then exhale slowly, steadily through the mouth, keeping that kegel, but keeping that area sort of soft and heavy into the ground. When you're ready for your next inhale, go ahead and breathe in through the nose. Pause at the end of the inhale, kegel. And exhale, keeping that kegel. Slow and steady through the breath out until you reach the end. Continue this pattern. If you were to have your hands on your belly, like in front of the pelvis at this point, you might feel a little bit of a rise outward as you inhale. Don't fight that. But do on your exhale, as you kegel, feel a softening, a dropping inward, not hardening the belly wall, allowing it to respond on your exhale to the deeper muscles underneath. And so of course, we're talking about transversus as well as pelvic floor. Those two muscle groups are closely interrelated. We're here for about a minute more, finding this breath. Pelvic floor forming the base of your core or your center. Transversus forming the front, sides, and back. As you exhale, you're also relaxing the respiratory diaphragm at the base of the ribs, which forms really the upper boundary of that sort of core complex in your center. When you inhale, feel the breath dropping down toward the hips, moving through the bottom of the ribs. The bottom of the side ribs flare outward just a little bit. And then as you kegel and exhale and release the breath, you also relax the diaphragmatic contraction and feel that the breath can rise through the center of the chest as the diaphragm softens upward and inward. Inhale, breath moving down. Diaphragm flattening out, sides of the ribs flaring. Now exhale, contracting lightly through pelvic floor. Begin to squeeze the inner thighs and feel an additional boost or support through the base of your core. 3 more rounds of breath. And last 2. And last 1. As you exhale, of course, you're getting a feeling of release into the length of your spine. You've still got the neutral contours, a little bit of a space under the lower back and the back of the neck. So you have this very wavy shape through the spine. We're going to begin to alter that waviness of the neutral spine as we move in and out of imprint. Imprint is a spinal flexion through the lumbar area. So as we exhale, the spine itself will release into length, and then you're going to contract the lower abs to pull the low back down toward the mat. It might touch, it might not. Inhale in that imprinted position. Kegel, exhale. Feel the breath release upward, and feel also the lower back releasing upward as the spine returns to its neutral shape. Inhale in neutral. Kegel, exhale, lengthening, and then stretching the low spine into that imprint as you contract the low abs. Low abs scooping inward. Hold imprint. Inhale here. Kegel. And exhale. Begin to release or lengthen the low abs into their neutral length. And the low back resumes its neutral posture. With the same pattern, please do 2 more repetitions, moving only on exhale as you consciously engage core along with movement. And I haven't specifically cued it, except maybe once, but do feel that the knees are just kind of hugging around the contour of the ball or whatever you're holding. Not enough to activate the outer hips or thighs, but enough to bring awareness to the inner thighs, to the extension of that midline down through the lower extremities. When you've returned to neutral from this last repetition, put whatever is between your knees off to the side, and we'll do a hip release. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate this one because it's not obvious a lot of times from the cueing. We're still in neutral, and I'd like you to extend one leg down the mat. We'll do both, so it doesn't matter which one you start with. When you extend that single leg, make sure that your posture is still in the neutral that you started from. Have an exhale here. And on your inhale breath, drop the bent knee away from the midline out to the side. Continue inhaling as you slide that foot down. As you exhale, roll the leg inward from the hip joint and draw the heel up. And let your hamstrings pull in your heel closer to your pelvis. Inhale, open the knee out to the side, slide the leg down. Feel light work in the quads to lengthen and support the stretch of the knee. Exhale, roll inward using your Kegel along with the inner thighs, and then draw the heel up, pulling your calf to the back of your thigh with your hamstrings. 2 more. Inhale, out and down. Kegel rolling inward and drawing the heel up. And 1 more time on the same side in the same direction. We'll do 4 with the same leg, beginning in the opposite direction. On the inhale, the knee drops slightly across the midline, and the heel pushes all the way down, lightly contracting the medial quads along with the inner thighs. Exhale, turn outward. Feel a little something under the back of your hip between your hamstrings and your glutes. And then again, pull the heel toward the pelvis using your hamstrings. Inhale across the midline and down. Kegel, turn outward, and as you exhale, pull the calf toward the back of the thigh, heel sliding toward the sitting bone. 2 more in this direction. So we're doing a total of 4 repetitions. When you've done your last one, bend both knees, and you can either hug them to your chest or simply rest the feet on the floor close to the bottom of your hips. Have a breath in and out. You can do any stretchy motion that feels good. We'll move on to the other side, placing the feet down if they're lifted, returning to neutral pelvis if you shifted from it. Extend the other leg long on the mat. We have a single knee bent. We'll prepare with an exhale. And on the inhale, this knee drops out to the side and slides down the mat. Kegel and exhale from the hip, the inner thigh turns inward, and you pull the calf toward the back of the thigh, returning to center. 4 total repetitions. Continue on your own pace. And whatever your natural pace is, make sure that you're mindfully connecting to the core as well as to the movement, the articulation of the hip and the knee. When you've completed that 4th repetition, pause, the sole of the foot flat on the ground, right where you started from, and then inhale, drop the knee inward. Slide the leg long, lightly contracting medial quads, inner thighs. Roll the thigh outward from underneath the back of the hip, and then bend the knee. 4 total in this new direction, dropping inward, rolling downward, or stretching downward on the inhale. Dropping outward and then pulling upward on the exhale. When you've completed your final one, again, you can hug the knees in. You can do any little stretchy motion through the hips, the legs, the shoulders that feel good. We will roll over onto our sides right away, right off the bat, and do spinal rotation. And this is one where you might want to have a weight for. That's an option. You may want to continue to use something or resume using something between the knees or inner thighs. And you almost certainly want a little extra layer of blanket or cushion under your head because you'll be in side lying. You don't want your neck smashed into your shoulder or vice versa. Okay. So I'm going to use a yoga block for this morning. You're lying on your side with your arms extended in front of you. Your hips and your shoulders stacked, your ribs in the plane of the pelvis, essentially your neutral position that you had on your back, but just rotated 90 degrees in space. Take your gaze in front, so neutralize the head position, and exhale here. You're kegling, you're lightly squeezing the block with the inner thighs. On your inhale, begin to turn the head upward as you also extend the arm upward. As you exhale, continue opening across the shoulders and the chest, rotating open through the top side of the arm and the ribs. I'm going to bend my elbow a little bit because I'm running out of room. Hold the twist as you inhale. Relax the outer hips. Kegel, exhale, squeeze the inner thighs. And return. Start with the muscles along the bottom of the waist, the middle, the top, squaring everything off, and ready to begin again. Inhale, turn the head, lift the arm, and exhale, twist open across the shoulders and the chest. Top side of the ribs and the arm and shoulder fall back. Kegel, exhale, and return. Just one more from this side. Moving the head as you lift the arm and opening the chest. Feel the head and the shoulders continuing to spiral open as the rest of the spine below does the same. Pause in that open twist. Inhale in place. As you kegel, lightly activate inner thighs, squeezing the block, stabilizing the pelvis as you return. And once you've returned, go ahead and roll to the other side and set it up for the opposite twist. Once you're set up, of course, you ensure that you're in your neutral. You've got whatever props you're using. You'll prepare with an exhale by activating the lower chain. And then inhale, turn the head, lift the arm, continue into twist. Make sure that you're completing the exhale And whether you're twisting open or returning, relaxing internally through the diaphragm as you power externally through the obliques. We have 3 total. Another thing to find as you lift the arm and open is that light drawing back or retraction of the shoulder blade. Return from this. And as you lower the arm, keep that openness through the chest that results from the little retraction of the shoulder blade. Go through the 3rd repetition, so finish from wherever you are. And once you've done that, come to hands and knees. And I don't mean to rush you at all. I just want you to feel a continuity of movement, a relationship of one exercise and breath pattern to the next. We'll be doing cat stretch, so of course you can pad under your knees. You can be on fists rather than palms if you like. We'll start in our neutral position with our weight centered, so not all the way forward, not all the way back. Take a breath in, Kegel, exhale, and begin to use your imprint muscles to round your lower back, flexing the tail forward as you lengthen the lower spine. Begin to curve through the bottom of the ribs, the length of your waist, and upward. Allow the top of the head to spill forward. Your gaze should be between the knees, essentially. Inhale, Kegel, exhale, return, initiating the movement from the base of your spine, leveling, lengthening the pelvis and the low abs, the height of your waist and ribs, the head. And now here, inhale, retract both shoulder blades simultaneously and feel the top of the chest opening as it reaches forward and up into extension. Let that go and do 2 more. Exhale to round the spine, stretching the shape of it as you create your curve. Hold, breathe in. Kegel, exhale, return through neutral, preserving the length through the outer surface of the spine. As you now lengthen the front or inner surface, retracting the shoulder blades, opening the chest. Inhale, take the upper back into extension, release, and repeat 1 more set or repetition of the entire movement. Softening the jawline, the sides of the neck. Feel in that final extension that you're not pushing the shoulder blades down from the sides or top of the neck. You're instead finding the bottom of the shoulder blades and the relationship to the bottom of the ribs. Let that go. And lie onto your back. You'll want whatever you're using for inner thighs. We'll continue into hip rolls. Because we're going to be rolling up and resting weight on the shoulders, you don't want your head to be pushed very far forward. So you either lower or just completely ditch the head mat. And you return to your reclined neutral position, being particularly aware of how your feet are relating to the ground. You might lift and spread the toes, stretch across the width of the balls of your feet, center your heels, lower the toes, stretching them forward, and feel like your feet are hugging the ground. The arch is lifting up in response to that. 1 more exhale here, get your Kegel, your inner thighs, and feel the relationship between the back of your calves to the back of your hamstrings. Inhale in place, arms resting by the sides. Kegel, exhale, use your imprint muscles to initiate here as you lengthen and then flex the spine forward. Tail lifting, lower back lifting, each vertebra in sequence on your way up. If you run out of exhale, pause where you are, inhale, and on your next exhale, continue that sequential lift. until you're resting on your shoulders. Consciously relax the tops of shoulders, sides of the neck, roots of your jaw. Inhale, Kegel, squeeze the block, and exhale, melt it down. And if it's challenging to multitask this morning, pay attention first to your Kegel and a feeling of length. Secondarily, keep your attention on your feet. Feel the change in your posture as you lower to the ground and resume neutral. Inhale here. Kegel. Inner thighs from the feet, and then using your abs, begin to flex the spine forward. It's the same cat stretch motion we did on hands and knees, only now it's sunny side up. We're pushing down with the back of the legs through the bottoms of the feet, lifting the glutes into the back of the pelvis to extend those hips as you come all the way up. At the top, inhale, use the strength of your legs, not the press of your arms or shoulders. And then exhale, begin to roll down. Continuing to connect the back of the thighs to the back of the calves. Keeping a steady grounding through the bottoms of the feet. Once you're in neutral at the bottom, please do one more repetition. And be careful at the top that you're not pushing the bottom of the ribs forward with the back of the ribs, right? So don't hyperextend the bottom of the rib cage. Keep that neutral, and then when it's time, roll down through it. Feel a stretch in the muscles that are on the back of the ribs below the shoulder blades. A stretch through the lower back and back of the pelvis. Once you're there, grab the weights in your hands if you like to use them for the shoulder work, the initial shoulder work. Otherwise, just extend your arms forward to the ceiling. Now, you're still lying down, obviously. I'm going to sit up so I can show you, for those of you who need a visual, that we're retracting and then protracting the shoulder blades. So with your weights, if you're holding them, otherwise fingers extended, on your exhale, begin to, again, retract the shoulder blades toward the spine, pulling the shoulders toward the back of the ribs and pressing the chest forward just lightly. And then inhale, go the other way. Shoulder joints moving toward the front of the ribs, as seen from the side, and top of the ribs pressing back a little. Exhale, shoulders sliding back. The top of the chest might press forward a little. You should chiefly look for a sense of opening. And then inhale, go the other way. Now, do 2 more of these. You are manipulating the top of the ribs a little bit, at least in terms of openness, and you're definitely sliding the shoulder joints, but try not to displace the bottom of the ribs forward and back as you do that. We are isolating shoulder joints and muscles. When you've done your last one, find that sweet spot in the middle. So the shoulders are balanced across the width and the front to backness of the ribs. Take a breath here, and on your exhale, reach the arms back. At the end of your reach, inhale, feel that opening across the chest without lifting the chest forward. And then exhale, return. Bring the arms to vertical or in front of the shoulders without hunching the shoulders into the neck. Inhale in place. Exhale, lift the arms back. We're still stable through the bottom of the ribs and of course still connected into core. Hold the reach, inhale down through the sides of the bottom ribs. Kegel, squeeze the block, and exhale, return. Please do 2 more, moving only on the exhale. Every now and then, check in with your feet. Good. Last repetition, please. As you finish this last repetition, you'll bring the arms all the way down to the sides. We're going to remain on our back, so we're still lying down. We're still in neutral. And we're going to nod the head a little bit here. So again, I'm going to remain seated so you can see what's going on with my spine if you need to. And you're lying down with the arms resting by the sides. Prepare with an exhale. Simply return to awareness of pelvic floor, of length, of neutral. And then on your inhale breath, as your head still rests against the floor, slide the chin down, lifting the roots of your jaw up. It'll feel like your soft palate is lifting as well. Exhale, release the head nod. Now this is a really subtle movement. The movement of the head is being caused by muscles in the throat. Inhale, nod. You're releasing the back of the neck and stabilizing this little bit of flexion with the cervical spine. And exhale, release. Do 2 more of these. And this isolation can be sort of tricky because we want to use the chest or the bigger muscles that relate the neck to the front of the shoulders. Don't do it. Once you've done your last head nod, continue to rest the head, the spine in toto, in neutral. And we do one last little shoulder movement. The arms are down by the sides. You might just be sure you're not gripping them out with your hands because we're going to slide the shoulders up and down. And I'm going to turn around so you can see what my shoulder blades are doing. So with your arms stretched down by your hips, exhale in preparation. Now as you inhale, on purpose, contract the upper traps to lift or slide the shoulder blades in back, the collarbones in front, up toward the neck, the base of your skull. And then release that. And on your exhale, contract the bottom framing of the shoulder blades to slide them down. And again, we're not pushing shoulder blades down from the top. We're contracting them from below. Inhale, lift up. It's super easy to find these muscles for most of us. But then let them go and exhale, glide the bottom of the shoulder blades down. Do that just once more. And then we'll continue into ab prep. So now a little bit more work for the abs as we bend our middle spine. You can choose to put your hands behind your head if a little neck support is better for you, or to leave the arms long and to add a little extra challenge for the muscles that hold the head on. Okay. As you inhale and nod the head, make sure that you're not subtly tensing across the front of the shoulders or the chest. The fingertips are lifted from the mat, the elbows and wrists are stretched. And then as you exhale, begin to bend the bottom of the ribs. Slide the shoulder blades down and preserve the nod of the head. You're flexed forward. Inhale here and exhale to lower. Inhale, nod your chin, relaxing across the chest and the front of the shoulders. Exhale, get your core and bend from the bottom of the ribs. Sliding the bottom of the ribs to the pelvis as the bottom of the shoulder blades do kind of the mirror motion and back. Inhale, Kegel, exhale, and lower. We have 3-4 more. Now, as you bend forward, we are using the muscles in between the bottom and the sort of middle space of the shoulder blades to feel like the shoulders are stable and not climbing the neck. I feel like I may have misled you when I said contract the bottom of the shoulder blades downward, because I don't want you to fight your flexion with this weird tug of war between extension, right, and spinal flexion. So instead, as you bend forward, we'll return to this. Feel like the spine bends and the ribs lengthen up through the shoulder blades. And then exhale and lower. So again, not so much that the shoulder blades are hauling down, but that the ribs are lengthening through. Stretch out long once you've returned from this one, legs included. Get rid of the block. We're going to roll over onto our fronts and do some extension from prone. We'll again be allowing the ribs to bend a little bit, this time in the opposite sense. We're going to start with our elbows bent. So beginning sort of in order, breaststroke prep number 1. The legs are stretched below. The back of the knees are stretched, the toes, the ankles, everything is pulling long through the lower chain. And then as you inhale here, soften and open side to side, front to back, across the shoulder girdle. Kegel, exhale, feel the stretch through the crown and the toes simultaneously, and glide the shoulder blades down. Now, this time we are using that action of the shoulder blades to bend the spine backward, to extend, opening the chest as we lift it forward and up. Inhale, and exhale to lower. Take a breath. Kegel, exhale, stretching top to bottom, glide the shoulder blades and allow the spine to lift, stretch, backward bend. Feel that you're held at the top, not just with muscles in your middle back, but with the whole back chain of the legs, the glutes, the hamstrings, the point of the toes. And then exhale, lower. One more of these guys. Prepare with a breath in. Stretch, activating into the legs, inner thighs and core. Exhale, extend forward and upward, getting a sense of that connection from the arches up through your Kegel. And then lower. When you've lowered, bring your arms down by your sides. The legs are still actively stretching, and of course we're still moving from that core connection. On the inhale breath, widen the chest, lift the length of your arms and stretch through your wrists and your elbows. Lengthen the back of your neck and exhale, slide the shoulder blades. Lifting, just floating the center of the chest up above the surface of the mat. Hold here. Inhale and exhale, lower. Now it's hard to see, impossible to see, but as you come on up, we're going to try to keep the arms parallel to the floor. It's easy to kind of dip the hands down as we pull the shoulders back, but if you can keep your arms more parallel to the floor, you'll start to feel this work in the triceps. Inhale and exhale, lower. Inhale, place the shoulders, stretch the legs, Kegel, and exhale, come on up. Now we're going to hold this hover and work into the triceps a little bit. So you don't have to come up higher through the chest, just maintain your height and length. And on the next exhale, open the collarbones more and see if you can lift the back of the arms, pinky fingers. Drop just a little bit with the arms, but not with the chest. And exhale, lift again. Inhale, release a little bit. And 2 more times, stretch, lift using the back of the arms, not the back of the neck. And 1 more. Hold here, inhale, and exhale, lower down. Place your hands under your shoulders and help yourself back to shell stretch or child's pose. And even if you start in child's pose, right, which can feel nice for low back and hips, make sure that you spend a couple of breaths in that middle back flexion or with that focus. The next thing we're going to do is the 100. So pause for a moment when you've hit that sort of middle back flexion and see if you can smooth out the curve from the bottom of the ribs upward through the area behind your ears. And then as you maintain the width across the chest and the shoulders, maybe you can move the arms back a little bit, finding the triceps, the back of the shoulders, but still able to keep the curve in your spine, ribs stretching up through. Inhale, and then exhale, roll the rest of the way up. Lie down onto your back. And we'll get ready to do a set of the 100. There are lots of ways you can modify the 100. Maybe the safest way, if you're experiencing neck problems, is just to keep your head down. We do all work from imprint. And it could be that tabletop is not in the bag for you today. And if that's the case, just work from imprint and focus on the breath. It is a breath exercise. So inhaling here. On your next exhale, imprint the low back by contracting the low abs. Feel externally that work through the abdominal wall and internally that work from pelvic floor on upward. Soften the interior of the bottom of the ribs so you're not building a barrier when it's time to bend forward. On your next exhale, you're kegling, you start to lift the heel from the ball of the foot, roll on to the tips of the toes, and then finally float that leg upward. Inhale, and then on your next exhale, do the same for the second leg, sequencing through the foot. And as you push off the toes, you're activating that lower chain of the leg. Knees squeeze together. Toes are pointed. Exhale and relax again through the interior of the bottom ribs, but feel externally from the sides at the top of your waist, drawing in toward the midline. Now, if you prefer, you can also do this with hands behind the head as you bend forward. Sometimes I start that way. I'm going to start that way today. On the inhale, nod. And on the exhale, as you lengthen through the spine and relax the interior bottom ribs, slide the front of the outer part of your ribs down toward the pelvis. Stay here. Inhale. Feel that the ribs can slide over the surface and bend a little bit more deeply internally. Inhale. Stretch the arms. Exhale. And begin. 5 inhales as you pulse. 5 exhales as you continue the pulsing. We're using our triceps if we're pulsing with arms extended. And even if the hands are supporting the back of the head, we're still aware of the shoulder blades not climbing the neck. Instead, the spine, the ribs stretch up through. Continue through 10 sets of 10 breaths. If you're bent forward, can you feel the continuity of that curve from the bottom of the ribs upward under the area behind your ears? When it's time to finish, inhale smoothly, spread across the chest. And then if your head is lifted, exhale, lower it down. Once the head is down, rest the arms by your sides. Take a long breath in. And then exhale, lower a foot, finding the ground with the tips of your toes. Lowering, spreading the ball of the foot, centering the heel as it lands. Keep your imprint and exhale, lower the second foot in the same way. When both feet are down, inhale, exhale, return to neutral. You can rock a little side to side. We're eventually going to fall off to one side or the other and sit up. We'll do half rollback. And because we're not going all the way down and up just yet, you can use a little something under your seat to give you some height. And go ahead and grab your weights. We're going to do a little bit with the arms. You might want to put a block between your feet. And adjust again so that the feet are a relaxing distance away from the hips. It's often different when you're sitting up than when you're lying down. So play with that. You want both your sitting bones settled. And we're going to have the weights in the hands and the inside of the elbows and wrists forward. Draw the shoulders back, opening the chest as you connect bottom ribs. And then feel that as your arms lift in front of the shoulders, your feet get a little bit more grounded. Inhale here, and then exhale, bend the elbows, doing a little biceps curl. Inhale, stretch the arms. Exhale, activating the biceps. And then stretching those muscles, inhale, you'll activate the triceps a little bit to stretch the back of the arms. Keep going, 3 more times. Once you've extended the arms forward here, have the palms facing inward. And on your exhale, do a half roll back. Holding the integrity of the shoulders now as you flex the lower spine. Inhale and exhale, return. From the bottom of the ribs, the bottom of the shoulder blades, and exhale, roll back. Inhale, hold. And exhale, return. Pause, pull the weights back towards your shoulders. Widen the elbows out to the sides and press the tops of your knuckles together. Exhale, roll back a little bit. Take a breath, lengthening under the back of the pelvis through the tip of the tail, flexing the tail forward. Exhale, roll back more deeply, get into the sets of muscles behind the navel. And then exhale, roll back more, finding the bottom of the ribs. Inhale here, and on your next exhale, twist to one side and extend the opposite arm. So if we're twisting to the right, we're extending the left arm forward. Inhale, return to center, bringing the arm back close. And then exhale, twist in the other way, extending, of course, the new side. And keep that going. A couple more times across the sides. Exhale to twist. Inhale to return from twist. Keep a continuous connection upward from the bottom, or the lower abs, into the middle, into the upper abs at the bottom of the ribs. Relaxing internally through the diaphragm as you breathe out. When you've completed that last repetition, exhale, go ahead and roll up. And lower your arms down and rest for a moment. Scoot your shoulders a smidge. You can kind of roll a little bit here. And then come off of the thing you were sitting on, if you were sitting on something. We're going to go into roll down. I'm going to keep the block between my feet. You're welcome to do the same. But we extend the legs. Feel as you extend the legs, you've got connection in the inner thighs as well as those quads right above the medial knees that are going to help to hold stability through those joints. And then your choice, you can extend the arms forward or not, or with weights or not. This time the palms facing down. Inhale, Kegel, exhale, and start to roll back. It's the same action we used in half roll back. Now, if you reach that half roll back point and you decide, oh, I got a little more, I can go a little further, you can exhale again and start to come closer and closer to ground. When you run out of connection, you stop. You might be able to get your head and your shoulders all the way back. If you do, reach the arms up. Inhale, begin to bring the arms forward. Nod the chin downward. And then from the bottom of the front ribs, think of pushing the chest forward, pulling the spine long as you bend over, coming up away from the mat. Inhale. Exhale, roll down again. Squeezing the block lightly. Spread the chest as the shoulders lower. Reach the arms. Inhale, nod, start to bring the arms forward. Now we're pulling from the bottom of the ribs, allowing that action to project the top of the chest forward. And that's probably a better description than pushing the top of the chest forward, because that implies a shoulder action. I don't want you to do anything there. We have one more. Exhale, roll it down. Abs drawing back to the inner surface of the spine. Suspending, supporting internally. Reaching the arms. Nodding the head. Get into your core, into your legs. From the legs, assist that pull of the abs that projects the chest, shoulders, and head forward and upward. Inhale, roll up, and put your weights down. Lie on your backs, please. You might need to adjust your clothing. Roll down is a little bit of a deep answer. Nothing between the knees. You could have a little something under the head though, if that's more comfortable for your neck. We're lying flat. Well, not lying flat. We're in neutral, but we're lying all the way down. Yeah. Have a couple of long breaths. Let the breath travel through the length of your hips. And allow the legs to kind of jiggle a little bit as you sway both toes to the right, both toes to the left. We're going to do our oblique series next. We want to make sure that we're not starting with a lot of tension in the hips. When you've had a chance to release that tension, go ahead and bend the knees and we'll start to prepare for the series. It's a series that we do in tabletop. Will be imprinted throughout. And again, I'll try to remember to give you some modifications. All right, so knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Neutral spine, have an exhale here. And just like you release tension from the hips, let's release it from the chest and the shoulders as well. Inhale in preparation. Kegel, exhale, lengthen into your imprint position, drawing the low back toward the mat, using the low abs. Connect it upstream into the bottom of the ribs so they're not straining forward in opposition. And as you rest back into the mat, inhale, Kegel, and exhale, bring one foot up to tabletop, sequencing through the toes as you lift the leg up. Inhale and exhale, do the same for the second side. Once you've got your legs up, you're going to squeeze the inner thighs together and hold the back of the thighs with your hands. Open the chest and squeeze your biceps a little, engage the back of the shoulder and remain wide and open through the collarbones. Nod the chin downward. And without moving the legs, exhale, bend forward. It's that roll up motion. We're sliding the ribs to project the head and the shoulders upward. Inhale here, single leg stretch. Exhale, pull one leg in as you stretch the other leg long. Inhale and exhale, switch. Now this can be done with the head down or the head supported in the hands. We're trying to keep a steady position through the pelvis and the spine as we focus on movement through the legs. Do 2 more across the sides. Return to tabletop and exhale, lower your head. Take a breath, arms rest by the sides, and then exhale, one foot goes down, articulating through the joints in the foot. Exhale, lower second foot, and return to neutral. It's a bit of a catcher breath, but we want to maintain our focus. Inhale here. Exhale, return to imprint. Stay in your imprint, and as you exhale again and soften the inside surface of the ribs, feel the outer ribs wrapping around and in toward the midline from the sides of the tops of your waist, top of your waist. Exhale, bring one leg up into tabletop, relaxing wide across the shoulders and deep through the chest. Exhale, bring the second leg up. And when the legs are up, the inner thighs, the feet are activated, place your hands under the back of your head. Nod your chin to your chest. And exhale, bend forward, bending at the low ribs, pulling and lifting the weight of your head and shoulders forward. Inhale. We're going to extend one leg again. As we do that, we'll exhale and twist the ribs to the bent knee side. Inhale, return through center, and exhale, other side. Inhale, return through center. Exhale, twist. Trying not to rock the pelvis, and definitely keeping imprint. Exhale, twist. Open through chest and the shoulders. 2 more to each side. Return to center, get long behind the pelvis. Inhale, exhale, lower. Rest your arms down, take a breath. Exhale, lower one foot. Maybe you start with the other foot this time. Exhale, lower the second foot. And then exhale, return to neutral. Again, it's a catch your breath, but it's still maintaining focus. We have 2 more things to do in our oblique series. Take a breath. And then exhale, make your imprint. As you get yourself arranged, know that we're going to be going into double leg stretch. And this one, there is an arm motion with the legs, etc. But if it's better for you to keep your head down or to support the back of the head with your hands, please do that rather than straining the neck. Inhale here, pardon me, and exhale, float one foot from the mat, lifting the leg. Kegel, exhale, other foot comes up. Try not to strain the chest. Legs are together, and if you're doing the classic version, go ahead and grab the back of your thighs. Nod your chin to your chest, and then exhale, bend forward. And as noted, you can put your hands behind your head. Now we stretch both legs at once. Inhale, reaching the legs and maybe the arms. And then exhale, circling, reaching down for the ankles. Inhale, sliding, picking up the hat. Exhale, reaching down, pulling up your socks. If your hands are behind your head, you're just doing the foot motion or the leg motion and maintaining your spinal posture. If your head is down, you might be able to reach the arms and legs together here. Do 2 more, please. And after that last one, rest your arms down by your sides. Lower one foot at a time. Use your exhale to do that. Soften the base of your throat. Exhale, return to neutral. We have 1 more in our oblique series. Take a breath. Exhale, reestablish your imprint. Arrange, connected, integrated all the way up, and then all the way down the chain as you exhale and peel a foot from the ground, lifting the leg to tabletop. Try not to push toward the head with the other foot, but to simply exhale and push the foot directly up from ground, from under the arch. We're going to return to holding on to the back of the legs. The inner thighs are together. Inhale, nod the chin. Exhale, release tension from the interior of the ribs as you slide the exterior of the ribs down and lift the head and the shoulders. Moving into scissors, extend the legs upward. And then exhale, split the legs front to back. Keep that going. 2 more across the sides. This can be done with the head down as well. Legs vertical. Bend your knees. Inhale. Exhale, lower your head. Rest your arms. And exhale, 1 foot goes down. Exhale, 2nd foot goes down. Exhale, pelvis returns to neutral. So catch your breath definitely here. Stretch your legs out long. You can return to that little windshield wiper action through the feet, or you can just kind of relax and maybe do little ankle circles. We are going to roll over onto our front and polish this off with 1 final prone extension. So when you're ready to do that, roll over onto your bellies. And rest your forehead on your hands. We're simply going to extend the legs from the hips. So if the forehead on the hands is not comfortable, you can place your hands in any other position that allows your upper body to be neutral and your neck and shoulders to relax. Stretch long through those legs. Inhale. And then working from the back of the thighs and hips, exhale, begin to lift. Thigh bones coming up away from the floor, the back of the knees stretched and long. Point through your toes. Your head is down. Mine's just lifted so I can talk. Inhale and exhale, lower. Take a breath. Kegel, exhale, stretch long through the front of the hips, the back of the knees, the spine. And again, lift the legs, extending from the hips. Hold for your inhale. And exhale, lower. Do that 2 more times. Breathing in. And then exhaling to come on up. Now the last time you lift the legs, stay there, please. Stretching, lifting, holding. And then as you balance on the front of the pelvis, stretch long through the tail. Exhale, glide the shoulder blades down. Chest floats. And you hold here. Balanced on the front of the pelvis. Inhale, get longer behind the hips. And exhale, stretch more through both ends. Inhale, longer through the sides of the waist. Relax the shoulders from the neck. Exhale, reach the crown away from the toes. Inhale, breath moving down through the legs. Exhale, breath moving up through the crown, lower to ground. Put your hands under your shoulders and sit back into shell stretch.
That was a killer.
Yikes. It's Toasty Friday. We're getting you ready for the weekend. Hold your shell stretch. We finish here. We're breathing. We worked hard for the past hour. And you could, of course, shift around or move around if there's a certain area of spine that could use a little bit more stretch or a little bit more breath. Allow it. You might move your head, shaking no, nodding yes. Move your shoulders a little bit. And then roll up. And of course, you can also be sitting on your hips rather than on your heels. Stack your spine slowly. And just pause for a moment. Eyes open or closed. If they're open, you want to be sure to relax around the muscles of your eyes and face. Inhale. And then gently release the breath. 2 more times. Breath in, moving it down. And breath out, allowing it to float up. 1 more time, in and out. And that's your Friday morning tune-up, you guys. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to turn off the camera now. Have a great weekend.